What up? Welcome back to the Wrestle Plug. I am, of course, your Egyptian king of House 3, Aaron Nix. Joining me to preview AEW versus WWE, which is no longer AEW versus WWE because AEW moved their pay-per-view backwards and WWE stayed the same, is Tan Veer,
Hi,
dressed in what can only be described as a 1950s pajama top.
I'm the boy in the striped pajamas.
Hmm. And as if my Al Jazeera-like webcam wasn't bad enough for you people, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to an entirely different form of terrorist attack. Hailing from the delicious delinquent delights of Dorset, ladies and gentlemen, one half of the IWE Tag Team Champions, one half of the Risen Tag Team Championships, the ones that will gut you if you go anywhere near them. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, indeed. The history maker, the main event, the all-star assassin. Some say that his girth is so wide that it couldn't even fit in one of those special school bays you get outside Lidl. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Roger Sears. Full on sloppy.
Wow.
Yeah, it literally is. It's a dribbler's nightmare, isn't it, that thing, honestly?
Or a
Massive.
dribbler, or Roger's dream, mate.
All right,
Love
Rog.
that dribble.
Roger
Oh.
says, I'm going to, as you're not exactly a fan of AEW and have no clue what's going on at AEW All Out, I'll give you the choice. Would you like to start with Wrestlepalooza predictions or AEW All Out predictions?
No, let's do the AEW. Get it out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. 13 matches, including the pre-show. This will definitely last about 3.5 hours on it. Fucking hell. All right. An 8-woman tornado tailgate brawl, because they're calling the pre-show a tailgate. Live from Toronto, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, our first matchup of the pre-show pits Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale versus Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madnesses, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Tanvir Verdi, who you got?
I'm gonna go for the team of Harley Cameron, Mina, Aminata, and Willow Nightingale. It's just hot women graps at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Hot
Roger
women.
says.
I'm going for the second team because I recognise some of the names in it.
That makes it
Fair.
so much worse.
Yeah, that makes it so much better. What you on about? I'm going for the second team because it has. I'm I'm going for the second team because it has Sky Blue in it, who is by far and away the hottest thing I've ever seen.
Mate, Sky,
I
Sky Blue, because seeing her live at the Eve show, she's a fucking workhorse.
Yeah, yeah, she is. She literally is like Sky Blue, Liv Morgan. I'm like,
Yeah. Kyle Fletcher's a lucky man.
bastard. Absolute bastard. In the singles matchup, Daniel Garcia faces Katsuyori Shibata. Assume you're going with the Japanese guys, Amber.
Shibata is my favorite wrestler of all time. I'm going for Shibata.
Fair enough, and no doubt one of Roger Sears' favorite wrestlers of all time. Who you got, mate? Garcia
Obviously.
or Shibata?
Uh, Garcia.
I'm going to go with Shibata because Garcia is the most vanilla looking fucker I've ever seen in my life. Unbelievable. If they could literally bottle bland, that's what it would look like. And finally, rounding out the pre-show, the Ops! Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs will face the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and J.D. Drake. Who are these people? I'm going to go with Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs because I don't even know who the other two are.
I mean, the Workhorsemen have been hit on because they were like a big tag team on the Indies, and then I think injuries and everything, so then settled back. But yes, the Ops is gonna be Joe and Hobbs. Beef.
Wonderful. Roger Sears, who you got? The two
I
people that you
agree because
recognise.
I know who Samoa Joe is.
Yeah, yeah, we know who Samoa Joe is. That'll do. All right, you might recognise this one at least. Starting out the main show, obviously we don't know the order of the card, but I'm just going based on what Wikipedia is telling me. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, aka Edge and Christian, versus FTR in an all-time tag team classic matchup. Roger says, who you got, FTR or Edge and Christian?
I know a little bit about the background of this one with FTR turning on Copeland. They've only just started this feud, really, haven't they? Only just put Christian and
Yeah,
Ed back together. Yes, no.
yeah, not for too long to be fair. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty much just started.
I'd kind of, in that respect, I'd expect FTR to go over, but obviously it's in Toronto, isn't it? So
Yeah, and
No,
AEW isn't very good at writing good storylines.
they're gonna put Copeland and Cage over, aren't they? I think
I hope so. I
that's
really
what I
do.
would say.
It's one of the few dream matches where I'm like, if FTR win, I'm not going to be upset about it just because of how good they are. Like they're
Yeah.
so fucking good. The promo face off there on Dynamite. I watched Dynamite this week, much to my chagrin. And the promo with them was fucking brilliant, especially them teasing Stokely Hathaway, who's the FTR. FTR have a manager. I have no idea why they need one, because they're great talkers. But yeah, they were just basically winding up. Stokely saying he can't get any hose, even if he
Yeah.
got 500 grand, which is quite amusing. My favorite line of the whole thing was when Christian Cage went, "It's going to be 100 grand for a fine if I punch one of you two, and it's going to be 500,000 for Stokely, but I don't care because I'm rich." And he starts beating the shit out of him, which I thought was very, very funny. And also just the ludicrous nature of AEW. In what world would anyone get fined 500,000 for touching a small black man? Come on, bro. Like,
I mean,
Jesus
what
Christ.
if it was Beetlejuice?
No clue indeed. I haven't even seen the remake, to be honest. Damn it, who you got in this match?
I've got Christian and Cope. Beetlejuice is a Slapnuts in WCW.
Ah, that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Jeff Jarrett's not in sight, so I'm going to say Edge and Christian. Just because, why the fuck not? Also, it's in Toronto. Speaking of black people that can do a lot of damage, the Hurt Syndicates, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP will face Ricochet and GOA. Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. For anyone who hasn't seen Toa Leona, he's sick. He had a match with Bobby Lashley on Dynamite. It was actually really good. This guy is fucking awesome. Big old meaty Samoan bastard, proper traditional. Trios matchup. Who you got, Tanvir?
So black. I'm gonna go for the Hurt Syndicate. I think Hurt Syndicate's going over. I mean, because this feels like MVP's first time in an AEW ring, or like in
He
ring
doesn't
wise.
wrestle often at all now, does
Yeah,
he?
because I think his last match was, I think, Bloodsport against Josh Barnett. But
Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty elite.
yeah.
Roger says, who you got?
Hurt Syndicate.
I reckon Ricochet and GOA are going to win because the Hurt Syndicate have been going over very strong recently, and they were very strong coming out of Dynamite. They seem to have the upper hand. That's normally an indication they're going to lose going into the pay-per-view. So I reckon the Samoan lads and B-Tech, Lewis Hamilton, and Ricochet are going to get a win there. Women's championship match, the AEW TBS Championship, Mercedes Moan versus Rio in a just a standard
Yeah.
singles match. Roger says the former Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Monet, or Riho, the 4'10" Japanese schoolgirl.
I expect Mercedes Monet to go over because she always goes over.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I got to be honest. I don't think Rio is very good. I don't understand what the big hype is about. Like, yeah, she's cute, but I'm not really seeing the appeal, and it's a massive like you really have to suspend your disbelief when she wrestles because she is tiny. Like, and people will be like, "Oh, what about Rey Mysterio?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but he would use an astonishing amount of athleticism to counter the power of his opponents, like a Brock Lesnar, like a Kurt Angle, like whatever his opponents had, they didn't have the agility and the high flying ability of him. Whereas Rio isn't that good a flyer. She's not very. She's very good at ground based stuff, but she's tiny. And Mercedes Moan, they've sunk millions of dollars into this woman. So to have a job out to Kenny Omega's plaything is not a good look, in my opinion. So Sasha Banks, yeah, I think that's Sasha Banks all round for us.
Yep.
Um, a coffin match: Darby Allin versus John Moxley. Roger says this is going to be a bloody affair. Do we? Who do you have? Do you have the man who looks like a Jack Plumber, or the man who climbs mountains for a living?
I kind of expect stupid, crazy bump from Darby Allin that risks his life and then he loses. That's
Pretty
kind
much
of
his
what I'm
MO.
expecting because that
Yeah.
sounds about right for a Darby Allin match.
Yeah, they're building the rivalry around the idea that John Moxley is trying to destroy the company. And, the Darby Allin is representing AEW because the Death Riders, oh, you nasty bastards. Don't rate the Death Riders at all. Think it's a terrible fucking faction. And John Moxley's gone from being a really good worker to a deathmatch goon,
Mm.
which is fine. Like I like deathmatch wrestlers, but I don't feel like he does the deathmatch stuff that well either. For somebody who's worked in the deathmatch scene quite extensively, particularly in the United Kingdom. I know loads of guys who are better deathmatch wrestlers than him, so I'm not really that impressed.
There's a thing with Mox as well in that because before he went WWE, he was doing CZW and all that and got that like prestige as a death match, but also a guy who could work. Then WWE and now coming back to AEW and he did the like early deathmatch stuff, I think with Joey Janela and all that. But since then, it's like I think someone put it best because with Moxley, he's gone more technical, and it's like no, you need to be like more of a brawler like you were when you first came back to the scene. Stop trying to do the submissions and all that because it's just doesn't, it's not working or translating well.
Yeah, he's gone for the more kind of like a shooter kind of gimmick, hasn't he? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, not really that bothered about it, to be honest. You going with Moxley, Tanvir?
I'm going Derby. I think
Going with
Derby's
Darbs.
gonna win this.
I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go with John Moxley. Match that I'm actually quite curious to watch. Tables and Tax match. Mark Briscoe versus MJF. Obviously, in the build-up to this, MJF has spent a lot of time making cracks about how Mark Briscoe should have been the Briscoe that died, which is not sure what people think about that from a,
Just
even from a
boring.
heel perspective. Like, I just think it's low hanging fruit, to be honest. Like, to be honest, like in general, MJF kind of has gone a bit dull recently for my money. He seemed to be absolutely on fire. He seemed to be the prominent heel at a company, and now he seems to be kind of floating around in the mid card a bit. They don't seem to trust him as much to deliver on a main event level. But this is obviously going to be a very physical affair. Mark Briscoe loves himself a bit of hardcore stuff, deathmatch stuff as well. Doesn't mind, copping a large amount of color. Um, Roger Sears, Mark Briscoe, or MJF?
think Mark Briscoe's winning this.
Mm.
I think so.
What about you, Tambi?
I'm going Mark Briscoe as well.
Yeah, I'm picking Mark Briscoe just because I love him. Obviously, a huge Briscoe's Mark. It's one of the few matches on the card that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, fair enough. I'm actually quite excited about this matchup. There are a few matches, to be fair, that are definitely worth to watch. It's just, again, like with AEW, you could have trimmed 4 or 5 of these matches and had yourself an exceptional pay-per-view. Trying to ram in half the roster just because you've got 150 fucking wrestlers on the show at one time is just ludicrous to me. Timeless Tony Storm defends the AEW Women's World Championship in a fatal four-way match against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Toxic Tekla.
Mm.
Roger Sears, does Timeless Tony Storm retain?
Yeah, I think so. I have a feeling that she's retaining until she eventually drops it to Monet. That's
Mm.
Well,
what I'm
she
thinking.
faced Moan, didn't she, at All In, didn't she, in
Well,
Texas
Yeah,
and
she
beat
beat
her?
Monet at All In.
Yeah, which for me pretty much neutered the run of Mercedes Moné. It was like, great, you're collecting all these belts, but you're not having very good matches. And then the one match that really means something for the main women's belt, you lost.
It doesn't have well as well that Tony's beaten Athena has at Forbidden Door, so they're doing this four-way. So if Tony wins, it's then after of who's gonna beat her for it, and whoever does needs to be benefit massively from it.
Yeah, fair enough. So Tony Storm then, Tanvir?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Tony Storm retaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Tony Storm. Quite uninspired by this card, if I'm being honest. For the AEW World Championship, Hangman Page defends against Kyle Fletcher. If any member of the Don Callis family interferes, Fletcher will be disqualified and will also be stripped of his AEW TNT Championship. Roger says Hangman Page to retain or Kyle Fletcher to cause the upset and become double champion.
I think Hangman Page keeps hold of it.
Tanvir?
Yeah, Hangman Page to retain, but I just don't like the booking of this match because it's like Kyle just got the TNT title, so it's like, bro, why are you challenging for the world title? Focus on your own belt.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't really. I mean, this is the downside to them having like 55 different belts on TV, along with all the Ring of Honor and the CMLL stuff. Like, there's just too many champions running around. It really waters down the meaning of being a champion for me. Um, the freeway match for the AEW Unified Championship. Kazuchika Okada defends against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. who is an insanely good luchador.
Yeah.
He had a world-class match with the Beast Mortis on a Dynamite this week to determine who would enter this triple threat match. Yeah, Tanvir, obviously proper old school here, a good one for your wheelhouse, a huge Okada mark for so long, on top, of course, of Takeshita as well.
I'm
Who's
gonna
going over?
Okada to win. He's gonna pin Dorada because Takeshita won the G1 and he hasn't had his match with Zack yet, which I think is next month.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think they've got to do it in a way that Takeshita still looks strong, but then after all this, they can do Okada Takeshita properly. So that's why Okada's retaining.
Fair enough. Roger says who you got?
I agree with Tanvir because he seems to know his shit about all these foreign wrestlers when I ain't got a fucking clue. So
Love that.
When it comes to like New Japan involvement, I'm there, but anything else, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, speaking of what the fuck, Big Bill, who some people might remember, of course, as Big Cass from WWE, will face Eddie Kingston in a singles match. Roger says,
don't know, don't care.
good, good, yeah, good. This is a match that should be on the pre-show. Why is this on the main show?
It's on the main show because it's Eddie Kingston's return, but the big issue with it is that for such a guy like Eddie Kingston, if people have wanted for to come back for AIDS and all that, could have just left it as a surprise rather than just pre-announcing it. Because now it's like, why, why do I care? Because that's been announced. Whereas if in a surprise, it's like, oh holy shit, like when Brock came back, like nobody knew Brock was coming back, and that reaction from Michael Cole of saying holy shit was a legit reaction.
I do not give a fuck. Eddie
Yeah.
Kingston. Um,
Yeah, I don't give a fuck either.
Don't give a shit. And rounding out this card is a four-way ladder match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Brody King and Bandido, versus the Young Bucks, versus Jet Speeds, Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, versus the Don Callis families, Hechicero and Josh Alexander.
Hechicero.
That might be the worst fatal four-way tag team title match I've ever seen.
It's
Not
gotta
because
be
these people can't wrestle, but because where are your tag teams other than the Young Bucks?
because Jet Speed have been like thrown together like for a few months now. Brodito as well. Then Don Callis family just yeah, they're all thrown together tag teams because that's what Tony Khan loves to do. He loves throwing together two guys and being like, okay,
This
let's see how
this
they
is a
go.
company that had one of the strongest looking tag team lineups.
Yeah.
Where's Private Pie? You know, I assume they didn't even get out of the group stage. There was like semi-finals for this as well. The Top Flight lost for no apparent reason. All the people who were actually tag teams didn't get through. And by the way, some of these matches were awful as well. Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight versus Luchasaurus and Kip Sabian was one of the semi-finals, and it was
Jeez.
dreadful, super dreadful. Like the only thing of note from that match that I took was that Luchasaurus seems to be on the gas. That's about all I got. I do not give a fucking shit. Again, I think the Young Bucks are going to win the tag titles.
Well, I think Brodito is going to retain, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Young Bucks win because their gimmick this year has been very entertaining.
What, that they've got money? They
No,
won it.
that they were like broke as fuck. They kept getting screwed over using like old references and all that, like coming out at Forbidden Door with Umbop, and now it's like they won that 500K tag match. So it's been a very entertaining run from the Young Bucks gimmick wise. Not match wise, it's what you expect, but gimmick wise, it's been like okay, I dig this.
I must admit they had a wonderful match against the Bang Bang Club.
Yeah.
Really good match, but I was gutted that Juice Robinson and one of the guns didn't make it. I was just like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. Roger says, who you got?
Young Bucks.
Fair enough. It's pretty underwhelming, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Let's get the
just
WWE,
literally just don't
baby.
give a shit. To be honest, I'm not overly infused by this card either. Like, just because most of it I've
No.
seen before in some form or fashion. So, WWE presents Wrestlepalooza, their debut on ESPN on the new app. So, obviously, Triple H has suggested a lot of big surprises. We also get The Usos' first match as a tag team on a pay-per-view since 2023's Money in the Bank, not to mention AJ Lee's first match in over 10 years. So, John Cena versus Brock fucking Lesnar. Roger Sears, who you got? The man who soon will be retiring or the man who allegedly shits on women?
I actually expect Brock Lesnar to go over because I think they're going to go for a rematch on this one. That's what I'm expecting
Think
anyway.
they're going to try and squeeze in another Lesnar Cena match
I
before
think
he calls it a
so.
day in
So
December.
yeah, so I think Lesnar goes over, so it's then Cena has to fight against all the odds to get the win back. That's what I'm expecting.
Tanvir, what do you think?
I think Cena's going over. I think Cena's going over and then can build up to finally doing maybe at WrestleMania next year, finally build up to Brock Lesnar v Gunther.
I mean, what I'm hearing is that Gunther is going to be the one to retire John Cena. If that is the
Right.
case, I don't see the point in John Cena losing to Brock Lesnar. But
Yeah.
at the same time, Brock Lesnar's first match back, right, since the allegations, he's
Mm.
probably not going to lose, not unless they've got some big surprise for this matchup. And I don't see who can really come out and cost Brock Lesnar. He's that much of a fucking monster. So, yeah, I've got Brock Lesnar going over in this one.
Cena pulls out the Peacemaker gun.
Yeah, in what seems to be yet another variation on these matches, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker versus the Usos. Like, happy to have the Usos back. Looks like they've pretty much given up on Jey Uso as a single star. Because, um, yeah, two meaty fucking lads with fake tans, or the Usos. Who-
The fucking Meat Boys. I want the Meat Boys.
Yeah, it's like a couple of whopping great roided tangerines. So, what do we think? Like, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, or Jay and Jimmy Uso, Tanvir?
I want Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker to win. I love Bronson Reed. Tsunami.
I feel like they've jobbed out quite a bit recently as well in high profile matches, mostly because they've been facing Roman Reigns. Roger says,
Logic says to me that those two should go over. Yeah, for some reason, because it's the Usos reforming, I fully expect them to go over. But I think it should be the other two.
I,
Uh,
I think as well it's gonna be the Vision going over Bronson Reed and Braun going over because I think they were slowly teasing like a Jey Uso heel turn when Jimmy was like, "You ain't sounding like yourself, you're sounding like Roman." It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, it would be far more interesting to see him
mm,
turn heel at this point.
Mm.
I think the face run has been an abject failure.
Mm.
I think he is very entertaining during his entrance, and then everything just disappears after that. In fact, his matches are quite lackluster for me, you know. All yeet
That's
and no
it's fair
skeet.
enough. Oh, skeet skeet motherfuckers.
Indeed. All right. Yeah, I'm going with the Vision. CM
Mm.
Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in a mixed tag team matchup. Roger says.
There's another one where I think logic says that Rollins and Lynch go over because this feud
Ooh.
is far from fucking over here, is it? That's to me, that's what logic suggests. But it's another one where AJ Lee's first match in 10 years, are they actually going to have her lose? So
Um, ooh.
I'm going to go with Rollins and Lynch because I think there's more legs to this with them going over here.
What do you reckon, Tanvi?
I'm gonna go the opposite, say CM Punk, AJ Lee. I think AJ Lee is gonna pin Becky Lynch, and then I don't know what the next pay-per-view is, but they can build to a singles match.
Yeah, they've been teasing the IC title as well, haven't they? Kind of like AJ Lee robbed it when she first came back, and then she said, "I'll give you your belt back, but only if you agree to a mixed tag team matchup," which is what they did. Seth Rollins looks like a bit of a twat at the moment for me, which is really annoying because he's your world heavyweight champion and also he's your workhorse. Like he's, for my money, the best like all-round wrestler in WWE at the moment. He seems to be having the best quality of matches, the best promos, but he seems to eat a lot of shit, a lot of shit. And he seems to kind of, CM Punk is one of those people who's too cool to look weak in any sense, which is really annoying. Even though, yes, he does lose, he always gets put in a position of strength first. Like he never seems to kind of really be in any serious jeopardy. It kind of annoys me. Like he doesn't win the big one, but there's always a massive caveat as to why he doesn't win. He doesn't just outright lose because the other guy was better. That never seems to happen. And I personally think CM Punk's matches are fucking dull. I think they're a bit boring. I don't think he's that great a worker. I think calling yourself the best in the world when you're probably not even top 10 on the roster is a bit fucking ludicrous in my money. So, yeah. But I do think CM Punk and AJ Lee are going over just because of AJ Lee. It's our first match back in 10 years. Like you say, protect CM Punk and Seth Rollins a little bit and have AJ Lee pin Becky Lynch and then have a IC title match. Why? For some reason as well, they seem to be really pushing that the IC title, the women's IC title, is on a par with the women's World Heavyweight and WWE Women's Championships, which is very strange.
I'd say it was almost there when it was with Lyra because at least it was getting like it felt like what an intercontinental title is, bit of a workhorse. But under because I don't think she's had like a has she had a defense yet or anything or
Who, Becky?
yeah.
I mean, she
Yeah,
defended it successfully against Lyra at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall if
no,
she's.
wasn't it Maxine Dupree she defended it against
Oh yeah, yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
on a
Yeah,
Raw, didn't she? Which was basically just a hair beater.
Yeah.
That's all
yeah.
that was.
Just to
Uh,
kind of prove a point of like, I can get a
Yeah,
good match out of Maxine Dupree.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, like I must admit, I have kind of enjoyed Becky Lynch as the more comedic gobshite heel. Like it's a better role for her than this, super serious leprechaun. It's kind of funny how she's just like freaking out whenever people like take liberties with her and stuff. I think it's quite funny. Um, Cody Rhodes defends the undisputed WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre.
oof. Uh, ooh. It's a tricky one. Well,
Is it?
no, no.
Is it though?
I really want it to be Drew. I really
No,
want it to be Drew.
It's not gonna happen.
It's
Not
not gonna
happening.
happen.
Nah,
I
no,
know.
no, no.
it's Cody Rhodes, baby.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
the way.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, and then rounding things out, which in a match that arguably is the one that I'm most excited about, the vacant Women's World Championship will be on the line when Io Sky versus faces, excuse me, Stephanie Vaquer. Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. Winner takes the vacant Women's World Championship. Tanvir.
Gonna be Stephanie Vaquer because of the whole story about her dad, but also she is bloody damn talented, so it'd be a cool moment.
Fair enough. Roger says.
Yeah, I actually agree, and I think it's probably going to have something to do with interference, shall we say, costing
Oh yeah.
EO. That's what I'm waiting for.
What Asuka and Kairi saying?
Yeah, I think so because they teased it enough, haven't they? So I think it's coming.
Yeah, fair
Uh,
enough.
I could see them potentially teasing or going towards a war games.
Yeah, probably. Forced parity, I think is what they're calling it.
Hmm.
Should be quite interesting. But yeah, that's obviously WrestlePalooza and WWE AEW. Well, the WrestlePalooza and AEW All Out both are obviously taking place this weekend, but they're going to be at different times, so they're not actually technically going head to head. And also, I'm pretty sure AEW is just a sole pay-per-view market, whereas WWE is a streaming market. So it doesn't really matter that much because AEW fans will pay for the pay-per-view regardless of when it is, whether it's at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. They don't give a shit. And WWE fans have the access and the joy. Like we can watch it on Netflix, for
But
instance. They'll have to watch it on ESPN. Good news for us, obviously,
yeah.
as UK fans, that we don't have to fucking pay a penny to watch WWE. I think we still have to pay for AEW, but they do tend to air it on delay on ITV a few days later, which
Yeah.
is
I think it's like a week or so after, but at that point it's just illegal streaming.
pretty much watchwrestling.in or whatever the fuck it's called. Well,
Hell
this
yeah.
is technically a news podcast, so I thought I'd throw this in because I haven't really got
Ooh.
anyone's opinion on this because we don't really do much. WWE WrestleMania is soon heading outside of North America.
Oh,
WrestleMania 43 in 2027 will take place in the land of women being stoned, Saudi Arabia. Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque, or Levesque, should I say, announced on Friday, September the 12th, in the city of Riyadh. This means it will be the first time WrestleMania has crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and only the third time it's been held outside of the United States since WrestleMania 6 and 18, of course, were in Canada. The news comes after Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, Turkey Al Sheikh, announced it in a Snapchat video on September the 10th. They gave it away early, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Those sneaky Arabs. Al Sheikh was in attendance for the announcement. It's funny because I am one. WWE has a partnership with Saudi Arabia for more than 8 years, initially holding house shows in the country to now presenting major premium live events, typically in the cities of Riyadh and Jeddah. In 2019, WWE expanded its partnership with the General Entertainment Authority through to 2027, which brings two large-scale events to the country each year. The first premium live event to take place in Saudi Arabia was the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, separate from the annual Royal Rumble event. Of course, we also know that next year's Royal Rumble will, of course, be in Saudi Arabia as well. 30 women in a fucking ring in Saudi Arabia. Oh, you're asking for trouble there. And I mean, if the Saudis have any way of booking it, they'll have Santina Morella win that, won't they? Fucking. Actually, I think they'd be more offended by a man dressed as a woman, wouldn't they? If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Not exactly the most progressive people in the world, and they also allegedly enjoy murdering a lot of white journalists. Oh boy. Just so we're clear, this is a shit podcast that nobody cares about, so please don't murder me. Also, I am technically brown. Roger Sears, on the other hand, hates you lot, so have
I
at it.
can vouch.
Yeah, I can
As
vouch.
the brown representative here, I accept Mr. Aaron Nix to the brown community.
Yes, exactly. See, that's right. Yeah, haha, unlucky, Rog. Let's see your big cock get out of this one.
I
Uh,
mean, Roger's technically Indian by being an Arsenal fan.
that's an interesting term. You mind elaborating on that for me?
I, I, I've, maybe not so much as the Manchester United fans, but because I know at Man U games you do see a lot of like Indian
Are you
people.
suggesting that North London is heaving with Indians?
I mean, London in general.
I mean, I've been to a lot of Arsenal games. Used to be a
Uh,
season ticket holder, and it was a very low quantity of Indian fans. Yeah,
I
more
redact
sort
that
of
statement.
more
If it was a Man U
Anglo-Caribbean
top.
than anything else. Like, yeah, a lot of fantastic black brethren there, but not much in the way of Indians. Like
I know Saka's from my end.
Sackers from your ends is
Yeah, Greenford. He's a Greenford lad.
I have no idea, but I don't know. So
Southall
these
Greenford,
these
mate.
are areas that Roger says is not allowed into in the first place anyway. So that's fine. That's right.
Hey,
Sorry, man.
Roger would have a meltdown in Southall. More
Let me.
than...
All right, genuine opinions. WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, Roger says. Good, bad, indifferent, absolutely atrocious. What is your genuine response to WWE? And also, of course, being British, we have to point out the fact that once again we have been overlooked for a WrestleMania in favor of a different country. I think this is the first time they've gone outside of North America,
Yeah.
and a lot of people would have had their money down on Wembley Stadium or, any number of great United Kingdom venues, and they've opted for the blood money, which is ultimately not that surprising from my perspective. But how does it make you feel as a United Kingdom wrestling fan?
It obviously, like you just said, it's the money. That's what this is all about. Obviously, getting paid an absolute shitload to take it over there, more than what I suppose the UK would be willing to put up.
Yeah.
It feels like a giant fuck you to the fans. That's what it feels like, because it's like we're going to go where the money is. You can't afford it. Well, tough shit, because we're doing it because we're getting paid a load of money, and that's genuinely how it feels.
Mm.
Amber, what do you think about this?
I'm indifferent because yeah, it's understandable. Like Roger said, it's the money and pure like the amount. I don't know if the amount's been disclosed yet or if it's just speculation at this point. The amount Saudis paid for WrestleMania. I think more so than us UK fans getting looked over again. I feel more sorry for New Orleans as a city because they were gonna have WrestleMania next year. That obviously got shit canned for Vegas again. And the following year, when it should be New Orleans, it's going to Saudi. So I feel more sorry for New Orleans than anything.
Yeah, New Orleans got royally shafted on a
Yeah.
WrestleMania. I can't say the thing is right. Everyone's yes, it is outrageous, and yes, it is fucking poor. but I'm not surprised in the
No,
slightest. This is
Oh,
no,
TKO has set its stall out of we're about making as much money as possible and we don't give a fuck. Now, ironically, I think the product is relatively strong at the moment. There's a few things that fucking annoy the shit out of me, but generally it's a decent watch. You can watch it and you can enjoy it. There's a good quality of wrestling. The pay-per-views seem to have a lot of excitement. There always seems to be a big surprise. They seem to be bringing everyone back. But you know, let's not act. The thing is, right, what, 20, 30 years ago, the same conversations were being had about Vince McMahon just being a piece of shit, not caring about us and running a product that we didn't care about. Like, I feel like every year there's always going to be so when you're the top dog, when you're the best, which is what WWE is, like AEW is trying its hardest, bless it, but it's not close. It's just not. Like you can see the sheer level
yeah,
of financial superiority that WWE has is
yeah.
bonkers. And the bottom line is when you are in that position of credibility and being the biggest game in town by some margin, there's always going to be scrutiny, regardless of your decisions. If they'd had a WrestleMania in the United Kingdom, the American fans would have probably kicked off even more and be like, what the fuck? Like, how come we. Now, obviously, time difference was not an issue because Saudi Arabia will be airing similar to when we would air it, probably slightly earlier, to be fair, about 5 p.m., give or take.
yeah.
So, from our perspective, the one upside is that we can watch it without being fucking shagged.
Yes.
That's nice. I think, are they doing 2 nights again or just one?
I don't know. I've
You'd assume two.
You'd
on that
assume.
point of the time difference, I'm actually excited to watch Royal Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm just like I gotta be honest. I watched the last Saudi show, and it had I think it was Randy Orton and John Cena on it,
It
CM
was the
Punk,
Punk Cena.
Punk Cena, sorry, and Orton versus somebody I can't Orton and Rhodes. That was it though. And the
Yeah.
crowd were fucking amazing. Really great
Oh,
atmosphere.
good
Yeah, and I
crowd.
thought, do you know what? Fair enough. Let them have their two pay-per-views. Give them fucking TLC or Hell in a Cell or
Yeah.
you know Bloodgate 99 or whatever the fuck you're calling these stupid, the period palooza. Nobody fucking cares. Like, just give them their pay-per-views and say, "Here you go. Here's your pay-per-views. Now give us lots of money, you lot with the funny turbans," which is how Americans probably perceive this lot. And that would have been absolutely fine. To give them the Royal Rumble and then the following year give them WrestleMania, like, do I give a shit in the sense of, as a fan, I'm not going anyway. Unless the Royal Rumble was literally in Fratton Park, I can't afford it. And their ticket prices, by the way, which we're going to talk in a minute, are so ludicrous now. You can afford it anyway.
Yeah.
Vegas WrestleMania is almost as offensive as Saudi Arabia for me, just because of the sheer level of cost that you would need to go and attend this. Some people will quote it as remortgaging houses just so they can afford to go and watch WrestleMania. It's bonkers. It's just completely pricing everybody out of the market. I have a bigger issue with that than I do with Saudi Arabia getting
Yeah.
a pay-per-view. Do I think Saudi Arabia should get WrestleMania? No, they shouldn't have got Royal Rumble either. But the climate suggests that that's not going to change. And ultimately, what are we going to do about it? Very fucking little. We can have a whinge, but the bottom line is the overwhelming majority of people having a cry online are still going to sit
It's
down and watch it.
Yeah.
It's the thing is too, because I've just been reminded that WWE is coming to London again in January, the Road to Royal Rumble at OVO Arena Wembley. Tickets aren't up yet, but I'm very interested to see what the pricing situation's going to be.
Bonkers is what I can
Yeah,
promise you on that.
because
Um,
it's Wembley Arena.
so AEW have been quite Ricochet, for instance, came out recently and said that, yo, we're gonna make sure that our product is affordable and people can still go and watch it. Now, that's not really the case, is it? If you went to Forbidden Door,
Hmm.
because the prices were very similar to what WWE were charging for Money in the Bank over here. Same with their Dynamite episode, I think they had in Hydro. It's like ludicrous money. Cardiff, when they ran Cardiff's Dynamite, in the build up to All In, which we obviously went to see. Well, me and Tanvir did. Actually, you did as well, didn't you, Roger? I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, yeah. Like we all went to see All In, and
Yeah.
admittedly, it was a very good show, all in all, I thought. But yeah, bottom line was that the prices were still shit there. So it's a little bit fucking obnoxious for someone like Ricochet to come out and be like, shit, well, we're not going to rinse you of all your money.
Yeah.
Well, you still are. Admittedly, not as much as WWE. You won't have to remortgage your house, maybe just your summer house, but still, you know, pretty poor when all things are considered. Like a pretty shocking amount of money is going to have to be released from you to get there. Um, so
Okay.
yeah, I mean, out on a scale of 1 to 10, Tanvir, how offended are you that Saudi Arabia has WrestleMania?
I'm like right down the middle. I'm a five. Of like I'm not pissed, but I'm not happy. I was like I'm not excited. Well, yeah, I'm a solid five. I'm not too angry, but I'm not too happy either. I'm just
The
like
one to
it
10 scale, of course, being Saudi Arabian. So one being don't really give a shit, five being not offended that women drive, but I certainly will kill them if I see their ankles, and 10 obviously being let's just massacre everything that's white.
Okay, so then by that barometer, I'm like a three. I'm like
Okay,
a
cool.
three. I want to
All right.
see women's ankles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw that. Oh, that's a ankle. Oh, that's some good shit. Roger says, how offended are you out of 1 to 10 on this?
Probably, I'm close to what Tanvir is, if I'm honest with you. Not, I ain't fucking going to a WrestleMania anytime soon. I can't afford it. Even if they came over and did it at Wembley, I probably
No.
couldn't fucking afford to go anyway. It'll be too bloody expensive. So, in that sense, not really. But I think it bothers me. They've gone purely for money. Fuck anybody else who could have gone to it if it was somewhere in the States. They don't give a shit. And like you say, it's their pricing is fucking disgusting in there. It's
Yeah.
just, regular people cannot go to these shows now. You just can't. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I've still got my ticket from when I went to WrestleMania 23. Do you know how much it was for the ticket?
Oh,
$30.
fucking $30.
$30.
$30. Yeah, for my ticket at WrestleMania
What?
23.
Whereabouts were you sat?
Well, you remember the show where John Cena drove the car out?
Yeah.
Above that is a plexiglass, about 5 rows back from that. So
See,
actually, pretty decent
that's
seat.
well good. So
Yeah,
similar to like where I was because the first All In at Wembley, first Wembley show is that we were sat behind the ramp.
yeah.
So yeah, so pretty for 30 quid you can't go wrong with that, man.
And it's mental, absolutely mental. But now you you'd be lucky to buy a drink there for that amount,
Literally.
right? I mean, Jesus Christ.
I
Yeah,
just
you wouldn't even get a t-shirt for that. That's how
Nah,
embarrassing that
nah.
is.
I just checked the capacity or one of the stadium I think they're trying to build, but it's not going to be built in time. Is that King Salman Stadium, which is apparently meant to have like a capacity of 93,000 people?
Is that a tribute to Solomon, my son, from
I have no idea.
the infamous WCW angle involving Kevin Sullivan, the
It's-
Dungeon of Doom?
Ooh.
There's one that Roger will appreciate. Solomon, my son. That is good shit. The Monster Trucks of Doom. I think it was Halloween Havoc '95 with the
Uh,
Monster Trucks. Truly a masterpiece in pay-per-view television. Now, if the Saudis decide to pull the roof over and have, CM Punk's monster truck versus the Miz's ice
Oh,
cream truck, I'll
I'm
be ready to go.
fucking all in that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah, and
all over that.
that's pure money. See,
As
Can we
long
that
get
as
Samoa Joe in on that as well? Like this match is sponsored by Twisted Metal.
fucking yes.
yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be fucking sick. See, I think I'm more offended that as an Arab wrestler and one of the only ones walking Europe, I'm genuinely pissed off to know there's not going to be any Arab representation on that card. That's
Nah.
what blows my mind the most.
That's
It-
true. Yeah. Well, I mean, they've still got 2 years, but who realistically could you
are
build
are
over
they going to
2 years?
bring Mansoor back just for that? Probably not. Mustafa Ali's done. He doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. Obviously, Sheikh Abdul Bashir is too busy fucking flying planes into towers before his music hits. For anyone who's
Mohammed Hassan.
for anyone who's sitting there thinking that's really offensive, go and type in Sheikh Abdul Bashir TNA and come back to me because that is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Yeah, there's no Arab representation, and bless him, like Sheiky Bubba's not even and also I reckon Sheik would have been like, fuck Saudi Arabia, I'm not going
Yeah.
there. even
Yeah.
if he was alive to this day. So it's the fact that, yeah, it's great. Am I excited that WrestleMania is in an Arab country? I kind of like, I was one of the very few people who actually loved the fact the World Cup was in an Arab country. Do I think that Qatar's human rights records, and particularly their attitudes towards homosexuality and LGBT, was very good? No, fucking disgusting. But very progressive and very cool to see an Arab country have a World Cup, which, by the way, is a celebration of all things world football. Like, not just, like with wrestling, it is ostensibly very North American or,
Yeah.
British for the most part. And I'm not saying it, I know a lot of people are going to be like, the Spanish community are going to be like, oh, fuck you. And I'm just gonna be like, well, I'm not saying that you don't have a wrestling community, but it's tiny. Like the North American and UK communities have the biggest, and along with Mexico, probably, those are the three, and Japan. So and they're all represented very well in WWE. Um, so WWE going to Saudi Arabia is actually kind of cool in a way of like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're sticking it in an Arab country. The sad thing is that it's never for the right reasons. It will always be because of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not because of any kind of progression or any excitement. If genuinely some of the poorer people or the working class people of Saudi Arabia are afforded the ability to go based solely off of affordable tickets and stuff, it will soften the blow at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But the other problem that we have coming out of these shows predominantly is that I'm told that a lot of the crowd is quite forced, which
Mm.
is not a good look whatsoever. But unfortunately, that's what happens. Tell you what, mate, though, like WrestleMania 50 in North Korea, let's make that one happen. Uh, that's where the real money's at. Like the idea of Kim Jong Un's family opening up WrestleMania with the North. Oh, and to be fair, people laugh, but WCW ran a
Yeah.
200,000 seater pay-per-view
Yeah.
in North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ric Flair wrestled in North Korea. Uh, that's special in its own right. But yeah, it's just, to be
Well,
honest, at this point though, the thing is WWE know overwhelmingly that wrestling fans are idiots. They're
yeah.
mongs and they're so fickle. And within 3 or 4 weeks, everyone will have forgotten. And they won't give a shit because they'll be too busy whinging about how CM Punk's promo wasn't good enough on Raw, or, oh, well, I was watching an Otis match and he didn't quite deliver his Hurricane Rana at a 99% level. Like, they're not going to give a shit. They're just going to tune that out real quickly because in this day and age, people are only outraged for 5 minutes because they don't have the energy or the patience or the sheer discipline and willpower to genuinely be offended by something. How fucking offended was everyone about the whole Charlie Kirk incident for all of like 3 or 4 days? No one's even
Yeah.
talking about it
Yeah.
anymore. We're all over it already. We're all like,
Mate,
yeah, yeah, that's all very well and good, mate, but Arsenal were playing Man City this weekend, and obviously, the most important thing
uh,
is the most important thing is Odegaard going to be fit. I don't really give a shit about Charlie. People are tuning it out already.
literally, to tie Charlie Kirk back into wrestling, it hadn't even been like an hour, I think, since the news broke, and someone had already made a Christian Cage edit of like, "But your dad's dead," and I'm like, bro, holy fuck.
Classy bunch. Yeah. Am I offended? A little bit. Am I going to do anything about it? No.
I'm gonna
Uh,
watch the show at a reasonable time and go to bed
Yeah.
because
Yeah. That's
time
a good point.
difference.
yeah. Do you know what? I'm actually, yeah, like, awesome. Watch party's going to be fun. We can actually watch it
Oh
and have
hell
a
yeah.
laugh. We'll all get
Yeah.
together hopefully and watch that live, and that'll be a laugh. So, yeah, my advice to people is either don't watch it, full stop, which is fine. Most people in this country have Netflix, so UK fans, you don't really have anything to be outraged about in the sense of you can watch it for what is essentially free. It's peanuts to get Netflix. What is it, a tenner a month? Like, come
Yeah,
on,
like
bro.
eight. I think it's £8.
Yeah, exactly. So you haven't got to buy it on pay-per-view. You haven't got to buy a special streaming service because everyone's got Netflix now. So saddle up, put your feet up, have some snacks, and hope that they don't murder any women on live television, and we'll all be sorted.
The amount of people that are going to be from the US that are going to be getting VPNs though, just for the UK, gonna be
Probably.
crazy.
Oh yeah, probably.
It's like,
Like I
what the fuck you mean they get all the shit on Netflix?
Yeah, to be honest, I'd probably, if I'm American, I'm probably more offended. I have to pay 30 quid or $30 a month to now sign up to ESPN to watch it. By the
Yeah.
way, WWE Network's still active in Germany.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, those Germans, they love something that's organized. Yeah, good shit. So
Autoburn.
something we never got to talk about was Raja Jackson.
Ooh.
I'm sure you boys have seen the footage of this lunatic, Rampage Jackson's son, who quite literally almost murdered a man in the middle of a wrestling ring, Psycho Stu. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk about it ad nauseum. Very, very quickly, Roger Jackson is an MMA fighter. Obviously, it's the son of famous MMA fighter Rampage Jackson, who also played Mr. T in the A-Team movie. Hooray. And he basically makes his living from streaming. And he was riled up on a stream after having an altercation where Psycho Stu thought it was at work, smashed a beer can over his head in a gimmick capacity, and Roger Jackson decided, fuck you, took his apology, even though, because Psycho Stu had obviously apologized to him after that, said, "Oh, sorry, thought you were part in on the work." And then he got stoked up, such is the hilarious level of toxic masculinity online. Even his father was egging him on, and he was promised a receipt by some fucking goober who has no business being in our business. And his idea of a receipt was to double leg take down Psycho Stu and punch him an exorbitant amount of times unprotected in the skull when he was already out cold. Which was fucking depressing a sight. And also, this was a WWE ID affiliate, I believe, Nox Pro, run by Rikishi, who never seems to be there. And now, of course, they've lost their WWE ID. Amazingly, Roger Jackson has been arrested finally following his incredible attack on indie wrestler Psycho Stu. TMZ reported that Jackson was taken into custody on Thursday morning. Take your time, gang. Jesus. And charged with a felony. The report also noted that the MMA fighter, who is the son of former UFC star Rampage Jackson, has a bond set at $50,000. The 25-year-old MMA fighter had attacked Psycho Stu at a Nox X Pro wrestling event in August, which resulted in Stu being taken to hospital where he was later discharged. Thank God. After the vicious attack on Stu, police were called into the venue, but Jackson had left the scene by then. Nox X Pro Wrestling reportedly was not cooperative with the police and had asked its staff not to cooperate with the investigation regarding the violent incident. A number of pro wrestling legends and Hall of Famers criticized Roger Jackson and the manner in which he attacked Stu, including the likes of Jim Ross, Ric Flair, and Jeff Jarrett. But Roger's father, Rampage, has shown no remorse, defending his son at first and later asking authorities to investigate others at the venue, including Psycho Stu, who was the victim of the assault. The incident has clearly impacted Nox X Pro's wrestling affiliation with WWE's ID program because that was cancelled. Although WWE legend Kevin Nash believes the promotion ultimately got what it wanted from the shocking episode, which of course is a large amount of publicity, albeit extremely negative. Roger says, you and me work in the professional wrestling business and have done for a number of years. This is our lives for the most part. Obviously, we do things outside of wrestling, but wrestling is where we all congregate and we have fun. Me and you included have been in rivalries with each other people, and all sorts of things. At no point have I ever seen such a horrific assault on a professional wrestler in a predetermined sport, which is meant to be choreographed. Your general opinions on Roger Jackson and how long this piece of shit should be in fucking prison for.
Obviously, I ain't got much of an opinion of him, have I? For something like that. Fucking disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Also disgraceful how long it's taken the police to actually fucking arrest him.
I don't want to make light of this, but considering it's in America and the person that is at large was black, I'm amazed it took this long considering what the American police are like.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
If this had been like, I hate to be that guy as a person of color, but what took you so long? Like you
Yeah, it took
normally are
like a
fucking
month.
on them. You're
It took
normally on literally a month, and it
yeah,
normally you guys will
because
have this handled within, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Because we
Yeah.
were talking about this situation at Forbidden Door, because one of the guys there, it was a topic of conversation. We just thought, yeah, let's talk about it. And it came up that Rampage has famously said in a podcast where it's like his smart kids that he's had in Asia is like, oh yeah, I've saved up money for them to go to college. For the kids he's had in America, he saved up money to pay for to bail them out. Like he saved I've saved my money to bail them out. They ain't going to college, I know that.
Fucking hell.
Do you think you
So
should get life?
it's a tricky, it's a really because it is attempted murder. just to be blunt, it's straight up attempted murder. Because if the other guy who, apologies on his name, absolutely saved Psycho Stu's life, who
Yeah.
intervened. If he didn't do that, then absolutely Roger would have killed him.
Mm.
Yeah, allegedly flatlined twice.
Yeah.
Just fucking horrendous. Like, yeah, he's this close to losing his life. All over a pro wrestling angle that went slightly awry. Which, by the way, if you've seen the footage of him smacking him, so a lot of the community in America, especially the black community, came out in defense of Roger Jackson and said, "Oh, if this had been a white man, this would have been an entirely different premise." This is not a fucking topic of race.
Yeah.
No.
This is a topic of assault. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit if he was a fucking 7 foot albino. Like, I don't care what color he is. He violently tried to murder somebody. In any civilized society, admittedly, America struggling to be one, it's that thing of I don't give a fuck. Put him in prison. If I randomly assaulted someone in this manner, I should get the same treatment as anybody else. So should Roger. It doesn't matter what you
Yeah.
fucking look like. And the fact that someone like Rampage Brown has proven himself to be a absolutely miserable piece of shit in this entire
Rampage
thing.
Jackson, yeah.
I get it, it's your son, but even black MMA fighters, prominent ones, are coming out and saying, yeah, he got to go. He got to go in prison. He's got to
It's
fucking do time for what
it's
he's
one of
done.
those things too, because Rampage Jackson, I think, has been involved in like some wrestling events as well. So it's like
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
you should have smartened your kid up to the business, maybe? Like
Yeah.
of like Rod.
Roger Jackson looks like people are using the fact that he had a post concussion syndrome going into this as an excuse, and I'm just like, no, there
Uh,
is no excuse. I don't care what your excuses are. There is no excuse. Fucking lock him up and throw away the key. Minimum for me, 30 years. That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
yeah.
And I'm not going to move off of that just because people are upset or offended. I don't give a fuck what color he is. Lock him up. That is fucking grim. And all of the evidence is there from start to finish. It's not like we have only certain things. This fucking moron streamed everything, the build up, everything, what he did backstage. We saw intricacies of what was going on backstage after the fucking beer can incident. And then we saw the whole thing streamed live. And what blows my mind, I can't remember, is it Kick who streamed it? Like, they left it on their service for so long after the fact. What a horrific fucking demonstration of what modern day society is all about. That they were like, oh, leave it up there because it's getting so much traction. Fucking horrendous. You got an attempted murder on your streaming platform. And people are offended when someone on Twitch uses the fucking N word or something, which ultimately isn't good either. But fuck me, this is something else. Like, yeah, lock this stupid little cunt up. And by the way, people like RVD coming out in his blaze of glory.
That was
Like,
dumb,
what I
man.
used to love RVD as a wrestler. What little respect I had for him disappeared after that, trying to somehow justify this incident. A lot of people saying, yeah, that's what happens when you chat shit. No, it isn't. I've been
Mhm.
in an exorbitant amount of fights in my life, and at no point I actually had a can smashed over my head when I was younger. I literally punched the guy twice in the face, and then we were separated. And he had a bloody face, and that was about it. And it's that thing of at no point did I think I'm gonna punch you until you die. Like I
This
had at
is,
least enough control of the situation there to understand that that warranted a response, but
yeah.
not murder.
But
Yeah.
this is the point, isn't it? Is you can get into a fight out in the street, what have you, and your blood can be boiling. The moment you struck somebody and they go unconscious and you continue to strike up, fucking, you are an absolute low life piece of shit. No matter what walk of life, you are an absolute piece of shit. If somebody's unconscious and you're going to still take advantage and continue to hit them, nah, just fucking. I don't care who you are. Like you said, the guy needs to go to prison for this. He has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fucking pussy. if you continue to beat up an unconscious human being. That's what you
Yeah.
are. You're a fucking coward. Roger Jackson is a fucking pussy and a fucking coward. And I hope he gets fucking locked up for the rest of his adult life. You fucking moron. And that's before we even mention the fact that he just throws what is already an extraordinarily mocked business that we work in completely under the bus as per usual. Once again, wrestling looks fucking stupid. And all anyone's saying when I come out is, that's pro wrestling for you, full of idiots. No, it's really not. And these idiots are ruining it. By the way, fuck Knox Pro. Get rid of that fucking promotion immediately. They should be fucking liquidated as far as I'm concerned. I feel sorry for some of the wrestlers involved. The fact that they had like a 16-year-old referee from all accounts is bonkers to me as well. There is no way a referee of that age should be put in that position. And it's the fact that Matey with a cowboy hat is the only person who really responded to the situation. If he hadn't, Psycho still would have died.
Yeah.
Scary, very, very scary. Get rid of this shitty tin pot. Get rid of everyone associated with it who remotely doesn't want to cooperate with the police. Get out of my fucking business, you fucking useless hacks. Yeah, there's no place for you in professional wrestling. Get fucked. Go on, off you go. Off your trot and fuck off and do something else. Go and work in fucking 7-Eleven for the rest of your lives, you fucking morons. Absolute fucking Egypts of the highest order. Yeah, just blows my mind really. It really does. Uh, anyway, moving on to more sunny topics. Tanvir, what are you up to this weekend?
Nothing. I'm just gonna be relaxing. Just yeah, all good.
Yeah. Watched any good movies lately?
I went and saw today Big Bold Beautiful Journey, but one film that you asked me about, and I told I love The Long Walk. The Long Walk was great.
Yeah, a,
Uh,
a cinematic adaptation of the. Well, it's a remake as well, isn't it? They actually had an original movie of it
oh,
too,
was
didn't
that?
they? I'm not
I didn't know that.
sure. I'm not sure. I know obviously it's a Stephen King
Yeah,
novel. I'm not sure if they've actually done a movie or not, but yeah, apparently pretty special by all accounts, with Mark
really,
Hamill of all people playing the
really
major,
good.
which is very, very cool. Roger Sears, what are you up to this weekend?
Not an awful lot. I haven't really got anything planned at all.
Just watching Arsenal and Man City and desperately trying not to shit your pants.
Yeah,
Yes, that.
yes. I'll be watching
That.
that actually.
This is fascinating because Arsenal have right now, it's very small sample size, but they have like the best defense, don't they, in the Premier League right now?
Yeah,
Only conceded one goal, and that was that worldie by Szoboszlai
Yeah.
at Liverpool. They certainly look like they're more than capable of causing a lot of damage this season. Can you retain, or can you, should I say, resist the temptations of Erling Haaland coming down the middle? Keep him quiet, you should be all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, be very interesting to see, especially after watching what was a laboured performance against Athletic Bilbao.
I know it's early doors. Bournemouth top four is pretty cool to see.
Bournemouth doing very well actually,
Yeah.
and a surprise considering the transfer
Yeah.
market and everything that went on with it. Sunderland to me are the team that deserve a bit of credit actually. They're
Yeah.
fucking doing really fucking well. Yeah, very very surprised in general. Champions League was, to be honest, a bit of a barn burner this week. Some really banging games, including Juve and Borussia Dortmund, with a 4-4 draw. That was banging.
Yeah.
And also Bayern Munich humbling the Chelsea was quite amusing from my perspective. Even if it is Harry Kane, who's just a weird looking man at the best of times. Um, yeah, pretty much. I was wondering if anyone was wrestling this weekend. I mean, I'm not. I'll be
I
training, but
mean,
that's about it.
I'll be a bit like Kyle. I'll be wrestling with my demons if that's all right, if that counts.
Where is Carl Wilkinson? Do you think he's
I
dead
don't
yet?
know. I don't know where Kyle is. I haven't even seen him on Twitter simping over women, so
That is literally his MO, isn't it?
that's
Right.
that's the barometer of how you know Carl's alive. I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh look, he's retweeted about women.
Mm.
Yeah, he's always like quote tweeting some admittedly very attractive Japanese women.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever. Oh well, that's pretty much it as far as the news is concerned. Anything else going on in the news that should be mentioned, Tanvir? You're normally got your finger on the pulse when it comes to wrestling news.
Nothing else that I can think of. I think covered pretty much everything there is. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our good buddies at Risen Pro Wrestling who are going to be putting on a show. So I thought I'd give them a bit of a plug, try and hopefully garner a few more ticket sales. Not that anybody's watching this fucking awful podcast, but Risen Pro Wrestling, of course, have a show on October the 4th. Do they not, Roger says?
Yeah, they
Yes,
do.
yes, they do. They do indeed. And our good buddy here, Roger says, will be involved on October the 4th. I believe it's Limitless 2 is
Yeah.
the Risen Pro Wrestling show that will be coming at you. Kids are £7, adults are £10. You can get an online family bundle of 2 kids and 2 adults for £30. There is, of course, the opportunity to check it out at wegottickets.com/event/670173 if you'd like to buy your tickets. It will be taking place in a place called Hamworthy. Where the fuck's that?
Cool.
Paul. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Know the venue well?
Yeah. They've done a few shows in there, so
Okay, cool.
Blackpool, Hartlepool,
Not Hartlepool, no.
Blackpool.
Uh, fucking not after what Roger Jackson did. Risen Pro Wrestling. Should be worth pointing out, Risen Pro Wrestling has announced all of its matches, I do believe, now for this show. Well, they might be missing one. Jimmy Swift versus Ben Stone versus Dan Rodman in a triple threat match. Of course, 3 people we know very, very well. Should be a very intriguing matchup. That's high flying, technical, and pure ferocity, all in a triple threat matchup. We, of course, have a last man standing match between a midget, William Corson, and a Doctor Who cosplay. That should be quite interesting. I'm joking, you fucking fannies. Martin Rowe, the GM, will be the special guest referee for Sean McKenzie versus William Corson. Last man standing. This blood rivalry continues on. Rhiannon Jade makes her arrival at Risen. I do believe this is her debut. She'll be
yeah.
facing Armina Lily and Sasha Kay, a elimination triple threat for the Risen Women's Championship, which is currently held, of course, by the incredible Armina Lily. Now, Bobby Vegas certainly has his hands full, doesn't he? Fuck yeah, now. Bobby Vegas will be defending the Risen Championship against Hawaiian Damien. 1 fall to a finish. No rules, just chaos. What do we expect out of the corporate, the Pineapple World Order's leader, Hawaiian Damien, and big money Bobby Vegas?
Yeah, utter carnage, I think, is on the cards for this one.
I'm assuming that's going to be your main event, although let's be honest, there is only one main event on this card, isn't there, Roger says, for the Risen Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championships. Roger and Owen Sears, the Sears Syndicate, will defend their titles against the debuting Beards, Carl Atlas and Mad Dog. Fancy your chances against 2 meaty lads?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? And for some ungodly reason, they announced the videographer who looks like a real piece of shit, if I'm being honest. Aaron Nix of Van Media. What a fucking cunt he is. Look at him. Honestly, fucking, I'm surprised he isn't fucking shitting in an alleyway somewhere. But yeah, apparently that means that the show will look pretty good from a videography standpoint. But it is definitely worth checking them out, obviously, with a link that we've just announced. And if you're wondering or you want to have a look for yourself and see what Risen Pro Wrestling is all about, check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Their social media is popping off with some lovely graphic design as well from DKMS. And of course, Risen Pro Wrestling takes place on October the 4th. Just £10 to get in if you're an adult, and £7 for your beloved little rats as well. So that should be good fun. Yeah, any other bookings that you got coming up, Roger Sears?
The student showcase for Kapow.
Yeah, when's that?
12th, I want to say 12th of October. That's really good of me, isn't it? It's to not remember.
What a loyal soldier.
For my fucking bookings. Brilliant.
Could I just say, can we look at the sheer apathy on Tanvir Verdi's face as we mentioned Risen and Kapow? Like, he's a big time Charlie. He only goes to Rev Pro and Progress. He ain't got time to be watching us.
Not even now. Not that.
Yeah,
I made my one-time appearance. Progress, just honestly, I think we left before the main event because just wasn't feeling it. Rev Pro was decent, but nah, I don't think you'll catch me around Ballroom anytime soon.
Fair enough. Well, to be fair, they have announced, of course, there will be a student showcase in October. I was looking for the poster, but for some reason it's not on the main page. So I'm assuming it's only on the Kapower House page. But I'd be remiss if I didn't give our friends at the Kapower House at least some bit of love. Yeah, for some reason I can't even find. Have I been blocked by the Kapow House Wrestling page? Is this what happened here? No, I haven't. Oh, good news. All right, so the Kapow House Wrestling Academy, which of course is in conjunction with Kapow Professional Wrestling, will be presenting their next student showcase very, very soon. I will find it eventually. Showcase 7 will take place. It's called the Seventh Saga. See what you've done there. Very good. Very, very good. Sunday, the 12th of October, starting at 2 o'clock, Hedge End, Southampton. I believe Hedge End Social Club. That was the last venue, so I have no reason to believe that it won't be there. Again, tickets are extremely good value. This is another thing I wanted to mention, of course. People are outraged about Saudi Arabia and WWE prices and AEW prices. You have a choice as to where you spend your money as a professional wrestling fan. There are hundreds of great independent products out there, really good ones too, that draw good numbers. Spend your money on that if you want. An adult ticket is £10.84. And that's including your booking fee to go and watch a student showcase. There's a number of talents on this show that have the potential to go very, very far, as they do in any student showcase. Obviously, we'll be looking at the premium student showcase in October the 25th later down the line here at WrestlePlug. But, less than 11 quid, less than £6 for your child to get in, or an OAP or a carer. You can get a family saver ticket of 4 people with a minimum of one child for £27.10. Like, you can't
Oh,
even
look at
buy a t-shirt from WWE for that. But you could, like, literally, you parents and 2 of their kids could go for less than the price of a t-shirt at a WWE event to go and watch a full afternoon of professional wrestling in Hedge End. Bonkers. Like, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention All Star Wrestling South. Our student showcases are £5 per person for an afternoon of professional wrestling. £5. You'd be mad not to spend it. If you're local, remotely local, you can get there at the drop of a hat. £5. Like, that's what the cost of a coffee in Costa now. That's the price of a cup of coffee. You can watch an hour and a half of top quality professional wrestling. Mental. Like, who doesn't want to spend £5 to see great professional wrestling and Rich Winters? Fucking amazing. Like, it's, he'll like
Rich,
that one. He'll like that
Rich
one.
Winters, holy shit!
Oh my God, it's Paul Summers. Um, Fucking hilarious, honestly. Yeah, no doubt he'll be smashing some poor Cooper up. I look forward to that. But yeah, Roger Sears, I do have it on good authority that you'll be taking your place at the Seventh Saga and tagging once again with your delightful son
Yeah,
against a unnamed opponent to be announced. I'm assuming it hasn't been announced yet.
I don't believe it's been announced yet. No.
All right, spoiler alert, he's facing Tanvir and Carl Wilkinson.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine if we just dropped that on you last minute? Yo, Tanvir, you're wrestling Rog.
We'll
Good
call
shit.
ourselves the minority cripples.
Jesus, even Tanvir Verdi has had a professional wrestling matchup.
Hmm.
You
Two
actually
years
shared a
ago,
ring with Roger Sears, if I remember rightly.
I think briefly.
Right. Well, in the sense of you were in the same match, but I'm pretty sure you were gone before Roger Sears even
I
had a
was
chance to
gone.
get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Roger Sears wasn't in there very long either, if I'm being honest.
No.
Ah, you gotta love some IWE, haven't you? Yeah, you lasted about as long as their crowd did. Yeah, Frankie T's not listening to this garbage. He don't give a fuck. But yeah, there's plenty of good wrestling. Basically, all jokes aside, there's loads of good wrestling. And there's great wrestling everywhere. I'm amazed, like, just in the WrestlePlug gang, like we have Silent Mark, who is the MC for Odyssey Pro Wrestling in Morecambe, who are putting on some stunning spectacles. They got Holly Barlow, they got Lana Austin, they got Reese and Rogan. These guys are putting on world-class shows, and you can get to them for peanuts. And it blows my mind that independent wrestling in this country doesn't sell out every single time when you consider the alternative. I appreciate that it may not necessarily have the bright lights or the production value of a WWE or an AEW. But most of these companies really are setting their stall out. PPW are doing amazing things up north. There's so many great places down south. You know, Smash Pro Wrestling have just started up in Exeter and they're putting on some fantastic shows. ASW South, yeah, I'm going to be a bit biased because I train there, but we are putting together some of the best looking professional wrestling shows in the South Coast. There's no, and if anyone wants to argue that with me, well, basically what you're saying is our media doesn't do its job well enough, which is horse shit. I'll put together some good shit. All right, that's good shit. Like it fucking looks awesome. Okay, and you know what? It looks awesome because of the people who are performing on it, all the way from Dan Robin and Jimmy Swift up to the supreme heavyweights like Bullet and Lewis Basham. We are putting together a fucking product and a half. And is it everyone's cup of tea? No. And the great news about wrestling is if it's not your cup of tea, there's something that is that you can go and watch. So if that's not your cup of tea, you can go and watch Kapow. If that's not your cup of tea, you can go and watch Smash. If that's not your cup of tea, there's Reach. There's fucking Brick King Pro who are also fucking smashing it. All of these incredible indie companies. And by the way, overwhelmingly, the quality of their matches ends up being better than most of what you see on TV. It really, really does. I will put a Chris Bronson versus Sami Zayn match up against anything you'd see on Raw any day of the week, and it will have all the athleticism, all the presentation, and all the fucking storytelling that those TV products would have. And people just don't really want to get invested in it because, well, they're fucking lazy. So, not really much else I can say. Tanvir or Rog, got any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I
I
believe
really,
everything's covered.
I really hope we either draw or beat Man City on Sunday.
I think even as somebody who doesn't really support Arsenal anymore, but used to have his claws in that very much so back in the day, nobody wants to see Man City win, boys. Get the fucking job done. They are scumbags. And Erling Haaland comes across as a fucking gigantic buffoon, as far as I'm concerned. Like, stay humble, you little prick. Honestly, it's hard to root for a team that behaves in that manner.
Yeah,
There's no denying they play some excellent football, but the way they have gone about it and the financial, they are literally the Saudi Arabia of football.
Yeah,
You know, and I have zero sympathy whatsoever when they do lose. Also, most of their fans are fucking plastic goobers anyway, so I don't really care what Man City fans have to say. Like, I only know one serious Man City fan, and that's Dan Patterson. That tells you everything you need to know, really, doesn't it? Yeah, good shit. And that geezer lives in fucking Salisbury or somewhere there or thereabouts. As do most, to be fair, Man United or Man City fans. Most of them in Guildford, from what I can remember from getting a train up there.
Guildford.
It's always funny when you're racing them back to London. Always funny. So, but yeah, I'll continue to support my mediocre, obnoxiously shite League One side. I'm okay with that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the WrestlePlugs State of Predictions address. I guess obviously AEW All Out and WrestlePalooza are this weekend. Whichever product you choose to watch, and by the way, you can watch both. Shock horror. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, have a few drinks, have plenty of snacks, and most importantly, just have fun. Enjoy wrestling for what it is. And for the love of Christ, don't take a beer can to the head and try and murder somebody just because you've got a fragile ego. All right? Roger looks so offended by that. He's like,
oh,
do you think maybe we should try the beer can thing for our rivalry?
fuck.
Beer can.
Wouldn't I tell you what, in Britain, it wouldn't take fucking a month to arrest an Arab on these
No, it would
streets.
not. No.
Fucking hell.
Mate,
If I so much as raised a beer to Roger Sears' fucking heads on it, I'd have fucking snipers targeted on my face.
mate, they get the fucking Unite the Kingdom people on you.
Literally, I'd have NATO fucking launching airstrikes into the side of my house before the fucking end of the
Arab
day.
hitting white man, not in
Yeah.
this country.
Fucking, I'd be holding crisis talks with Zelensky after the next 2 days. Like, fucking bonkers, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for not watching the rest of the because I know nobody's watching at this point. But have a wonderful weekend regardless. And for the one person who probably is watching, which I think is that lovely young lad called Scott, have a wonderful weekend, mate. Enjoy yourself. Get yourself down to a Rumble show. Because, by the way, another wrestling company that's smashing it in Rumble. There's literally armies of them. everywhere. Go and watch some fucking wrestling that's affordable and fun. Never mind plowing all your money into watching some fucking grown man child wearing jorts. Go and watch some serious professional wrestling on your back doorstep. There's plenty of sex offenders to go around, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching the Wrestle Plug from
Ooh.
Roger Sears, from Tammy Verdi, and of course from myself, the biggest cunt in the building, Aaron X. We'll catch you very soon for more content from the world's shittest podcast.